Do you want more time, clear vision, and have some future planning? Let's make 2023 the biggest jump yet. On August 16th at 9 a.m. Eastern, I'm opening 8 spots for one on one consulting. Are you a little bit nervous about this year? We've got your back. If you want to be removing yourself from the daily tasks, if you want a clear vision, and if you want to plan for multiple scenarios, this consulting package is for you. By the end of our 6 months together, you will have completed a clear process to remove things from your plate, examine what should be added, and know how and when to hire or outsource. We'll create a quarter by quarter plan that outlines the 3 biggest building blocks that you want to achieve in the next year, and we'll examine, plan, launch, and assess your money situation. We'll meet together for 6 months for a total of 12 sessions together. You'll get to come to my 2-day intensive here at my house in October with other private practice owners just like you. You'll get phone support, project management, and access to all of our communities here at Practice of the Practice. On top of all of that, you'll get discounts on support such as IT, copywriting, design, and social media. With everything included in this package, that would be over $2,000 a month. But 8 people are going to go back to our 2016 prices of $895 per month. If you want to grab one of these spots, make sure you're on the wait list. Head on over to practiceofthepractice.com/consulting deal because this sold out in 4 hours last January. You are not going to want to miss this. Again, that's practiceofthepractice.com/consulting deal to be on the wait list. Or head on over to that website on August 16th at 9 a.m. Eastern to grab your spot. When it's sold out, and we won't be offering this deal for a while. So jump on in and make 2023 the biggest jump yet. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 894. I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast. I am so excited for this series that we are doing that's going to be covering all the things we did in Level Up Week earlier this year. And this series is all about giving a spotlight to some amazing guests that we had. We wanted to make sure that you, if you missed it, were able to get this education. It's something that's been only available to our membership communities for the last 6 months or so. And now we are letting you have access to it if you didn't attend Level Up Week earlier in the year. Also, wanted to make sure that you know that on September 18th through September 21st, we have Level Up Week 2023. So make sure that you come to Level Up Week. We are going to have tons of amazing speakers, amazing panels on everything from starting your practice, starting a group practice, and growing a group practice, as well as things like passive income and really just leveling up in a new way in your private practice. So make sure you're on that interest list. You'll get all those dates and all those registrations emailed to you over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. So without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Well, today we are talking about how to grow a 7-figure multi-location group practice. And Ash and I are so excited that you are here today. Let me tell you a little bit about Ashley. Ash is a registered psychologist and founder and CEO of the Grief and Trauma Healing Center, a multi-location, large group private practice. She has been with Practice of the Practice for a year and a half now? Yeah. I mean, the time has flown. She presented at Killing It Camp and has been helping run Group Practice Launch and do teachings in Group Practice Boss, and is just such an awesome member of our team here at Practice of the Practice. So we're just really excited to have you presenting with us today. Just as a reminder before Ash kicks things off, and let me make you co-host so that if you have things, Ash, that you want to share, it's a little bit easier for you. There you are. Now you're co-host. So, Ash, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kick this off for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you to everyone that is joining us. I see some familiar faces, which just brings my heart so much joy. Hi, Wendy and Barbara and Donna and a few others. So I'm sure some other people will be trickling in, but we will jump right in. So I'm just going to share my screen here. I've got a PowerPoint that we're going to go through. Now, if there are questions, hold on to those, put them in the chat. I want to make sure that we get through what we want to talk about today, and then there'll be an opportunity for some Q&A. Maybe there's some specific questions about where you're at in growing your group practice that I can support you with today. And if you're really excited and you're looking to join our membership group, Group Practice Boss, I will be talking about that as well. So as you know, I am a psychologist by trade and the founder and CEO of the Grief and Trauma Healing Center, as well as a consultant for the POP team, which has just been such an amazing joy this little bit, over a year and a half of being a part of this team. Okay. Everyone can see the PowerPoint okay? Okay, wonderful. So I wanted to just preface this conversation with a little bit about my story. Honestly, I had no idea that almost a decade later of being in practice, that this is where I would be, running a multi-location, seven-figure business and growing. When I started almost 10 years ago, it was just little old me wanting to go out and serve the community. And some of you are familiar with my story. So going back to 2010, my dad died by suicide. And I learned very quickly through my own loss that I was very ill equipped to deal with my grief, which was sort of ironic coming into the field of psychology and counseling. And so, long story short, through this horrific journey of suffering, I found a program that changed my life, and it was called the Grief Recovery Method Program. So in 2013, I went through this program. It was a 4-day certification training. I learned how to complete my relationship with my dad who had died. And I really believe my purpose was born. I knew in that moment I was called to serve grieving people and bring this program to the community. And that is when the Grief and Trauma Healing Center was born. So that there was a sort of this mission in my heart that I wanted to serve grieving people one broken heart at a time. And that mission and this vision to equip people with the tools to heal from loss is really the foundation that has carried me through from day one of being in practice all the way till today of being almost a decade in business. And I share that story because every single one of you has a story. You all have an origin story. There's a why for why you decided to get into private practice and wanting to start and grow a group practice. And I imagine it's much more motivated by a purpose over profits, because we know business is tough and it's challenging and it requires a lot of grit and courage. And so I just wanted to share that if some of you are just getting into private practice, or you're sort of in a place where you're kind of ready to scale up, but you're feeling kind of scared, you're not really sure what to do. I'm going to be talking about some of the kind of foundational pillars to support you as you take those next steps. So as I mentioned, we've got 2 locations in Edmonton, Alberta. We have an online location in Manitoba, so the next province over. And we are now gearing up to open our 4th location in Calgary, Alberta. So really exciting time for our business. And my big, hairy, audacious goal is to expand across Canada and to be able to offer these services, have a brick and mortar in every single province to make these services accessible. Okay. So number 1, anyone who has been in my group practice boss trainings or has done one-on-one consulting with me knows that this is really at the foundation of your business. If you haven't thought about what your purpose or your vision, mission, and values are, that's okay. This actually wasn't a conversation that I had with my business strategist until, let's be honest, maybe 6 years into practice, where I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about these questions. And I started to read about Simon Sinek and knowing what your why is. So I had been running a really successful business up until this point and had absolutely no idea in terms of how to communicate what I knew was in my heart. And I knew what was driving me, but didn't really have words to articulate that. So it's really important as you're thinking about scaling up to be very clear on what your purpose is. What is the why that drives you to grow a group practice? What is the thing that's going to get you out of bed in the morning that makes you want to hop out of bed and get excited about your business? It's the why that's going to carry you through those really difficult and challenging seasons and those times when you want nothing more than to give up, because those times will come if you haven't already gone through that. That is just the reality of being in business and entrepreneurship, is there's lots of ups and downs. And knowing what your why is really key. For me, the why that drives me is not wanting anyone to feel the pain and suffering that I felt when my dad died. How isolated and alone I felt, how ill equipped I felt in terms of tools available to help me with grief, other than all of the myths and misinformation out there that tells us we just need to get over it and move on and think happy thoughts. That is the why that drives me. I don't want anyone to feel that isolation and pain. And we want to create a safe space for people to heal after loss, know that they're safe and supported, and most importantly, know that there's hope for them. Now, when we look at our vision, mission, and values, these are very different. So it's important we understand the difference between them. When we look at our vision, think of that as your North Star way up in the sky. It is so big, it is so aspirational that you will never achieve this goal in your lifetime. That's why it's a vision. But we're going to take every step we possibly can in our lifetime to make a dent on that vision. And every single decision we make, every service that we provide, every product that we sell is going to be associated with that big vision. So our vision is that everyone will have the tools to heal from loss and no one will grieve alone. Every single person on this planet will be equipped with the tools to heal from loss. And we will eliminate that sense of isolation that people feel. Am I going to accomplish that? Likely not. But through our mission and getting really clear on how are we actually going to achieve this vision, we can create a massive ripple effect. So this is where your mission comes in. This is how you actually achieve your vision. It's your feet on the ground. It's concrete, tangible, specific, and realistic. So it might seem very obvious, but we sometimes don't actually give it thought. What are the things you're actually doing to fulfill your vision in your business? Well, the obvious would be that through your therapy services. So maybe you do individual and couple, family therapy. Maybe you decide that, you know what, we want to offer allied services. Maybe we want to offer massage and chiropractic services to our company. Maybe you want to start a podcast, which you're in the right place if you're looking for mentorship on how to start a podcast. Joe is like the podcast guru at Practice the Practice. Maybe you want to do webinars or talks or speak at conferences or read books. All of these things are associated with your mission of fulfilling that goal of your North Star. Every single decision you make in your business should align with your mission and your vision. So our mission is we are stewards who help people on the pathway to healing, one broken heart at a time. And that is our focus. That means every single client that we come in contact with is just as valuable as the one before, whether that was when I started and it was 5 clients a week to now we bill over 800 sessions a month. So that is what keeps us grounded every single day, even as our company scales. The next one is your values. These are your guideposts for every decision you make in business. Now, oftentimes we see when we look at big corporations, we see these sort of lofty values. They sound good, but do they really mean anything? Do people actually identify with them? Are they really integrated into the actions and behaviors of the company? So this is where, when you look at your values, just ask yourself, what do I believe in? What are the parts of me that show up every day in my business and in my leadership and in my client sessions? That is who you are. So it's nothing that you have to sort of spend a whole lot of time creating or thinking about. It's who you are. Our number one value is choose love. Now, a lot of therapists would be like, that's weird. That's your number one value. Like, yes, it is, because that's who I am. I believe that I'm put on this earth to serve and love people. I'm a Christian. I'm a faith-based person. And so that is our number one value. Choose love. So what does that actually mean? That means showing up in a place of integrity and respect and compassion and kindness in every single interaction as a team and with our clients. Everything we do, above all else, we choose love. So when we have to make hard decisions, we go back to that. Another big one, nurture growth, honor wholeness. So we look at these values as a business and say, okay, every decision, does it align? If it does not, that's not going to work. So definitely very key when you're growing your business and you're bringing more clinicians onto your team and you're expanding locations, because people also need to know what is important to us as a clinical team. What is important? How does your administrative team make decisions? It all goes back to your values. So I just have here, when you are clear on the above, you will achieve clarity on what you desire to accomplish, how you will accomplish it, and the foundational anchors that will inform every decision as your business grows. Another key point, as you grow and you begin to bring more clinicians into your practice and more administrative staff, and perhaps you're going to build a leadership team, which is something I did a couple of years ago. Leverage your people and your culture. Now, a lot of businesses leverage profits over people, and it's really a numbers game. So I learned a lot of this through many books I read on leadership, and really Simon Sinek is a huge inspiration to me around relationships and people, and also my clinical training as a psychologist, looking at attachment. So when I think about my leadership and I think about my business, I see it from an attachment lens, that we are the safe base, the secure haven for our clinicians to come in and do their best work. Let's be honest, your business wouldn't exist, your group practice wouldn't exist without your clinical team. You would not have a business if you didn't have strong, highly skilled, experienced, compassionate therapists working for you. So we do need to prioritize their happiness. We do need to prioritize the sense of safety and belonging they feel. We want to make sure that it feels fair. Their compensation feels fair, that they feel inspired and excited to come to work every single day. That is something I have never compromised on, even when things were really hard and we had zero money in the bank account and our credit cards were maxed out. And I was like hardly taking any draws from the business so that I could hardly pay my bills. I still did not compromise on this value. And it paid off. It paid off. And I had no idea if my business was going to survive or not at certain times. And that is one value I did not compromise. So I definitely encourage you to think about this as you grow your business. Your people are your most important commodity. When you're looking at hiring, look at not only clinical skill set, right? That's important, but more so culture fit. Do they align with your vision, mission, values? Do they believe in what you do? Is there something really special about your business that aligns with them? So at the Grief and Trauma Healing Center, every therapist on our team has experienced a significant loss. Now, the next slide, I'll talk about our unique value proposition, kind of goes along with this. They've all experienced loss. They're very passionate about grief and trauma already. It's not something that we have to teach them. It's something that they're already impassioned to do. That is important to me. Clinical skill set is great, but we can train, we can mentor, we can supervise. We offer in-house supervision. We work with interns. We would rather hire the right person and teach them and get them trained and mentor them rather than someone who's been practicing for 20 years who doesn't align at all with what we do. And this is a question I always ask myself when we're hiring. Is this someone I would want to take out for lunch? Is this someone I would want to invite over to have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and hang out? That's important because we're going to hang out and be with these people. And if it's not someone that I would feel comfortable doing that with, how might my clients feel? How might the other therapists feel? Doesn't mean they're a bad person or it's wrong. It just might be that, we're just different. We have a certain buzz about our team and not everybody wants to be part of that. We're very warm. We're very heart-centered. We're very affectionate as a team. We're very like kind of family oriented. And not every psychologist wants to be a part of a practice that's like that. And that is cool. That's why it's like we're very clear in our job postings what and who we're looking for. Don't underestimate the value of investing time, energy, and money, your most valuable resources, into building your relationships. Relationships don't scale, but culture does. Investing in one-on-one relationships, the small things, is key. Think about attachment. It's those small ways of investing, lighting up for people, communicating that they're valued and important, writing a note, giving them a card, taking them for lunch, learning about what their love language is, getting to know, their family. These things actually matter. And when we look from a business perspective, the research is clear. There's so much research available out there. When you have a healthy culture, you have high levels of engagement, performance, productivity, trust, belonging, loyalty, retention, creativity, innovation, happiness. They are going to want to make your business just as successful as you want it to be, and sometimes more. There are times where I just want to give up, and our leadership team, they are just like, they're forging ahead, whether I'm coming or not, because they believe in us and our business so much. That is who you want to be on your team. The next point, get clear on your unique value proposition. This is the special thing that sets your business apart from your competitors. Now, I'm not one of those business people who goes and creeps on what other practices are doing, or, how can we be like them? I actually could care less, to be honest, what other practices are doing. But one thing I do think about is, what is the thing that sets us apart? For therapists to come and join the team, and for clients. So maybe that's a specialty. I know there are some therapists in the room right now that specialize, Wendy, we think about, the autism therapist of the United States, right? The autism expert. And we are known for grief and trauma. It's in our business name. We are everywhere. We are the go-to hub for everything from media to conferences, speaking to we're just the people that people go to for grief and trauma. That is our it factor. I also mentioned earlier, every therapist on our team has had a significant loss. They aren't just a clinician that's read a book and got a training in grief and trauma. They've lived it. It's that lived experience that sets us apart. They know they're going to sit with someone in the room who truly gets the pain of their loss. Maybe not understand, because every loss is unique, but they know what it's like to suffer. That is important. Your UVP is also, what is that added value that you give to your clients and clinicians? What are those perks you offer to your therapists who join the team? What can your clients expect when they work with you? Well, we have almost immediate return time on emails and calls. We have a warm, inviting environment for our clients when they come in. We really prioritize that relationship and trust building. Clients know what to expect when they come and work with our clinicians. It's also the solutions you offer to resolve client problems, right? Are you implementing evidence-based therapies? What are your approaches? And how do we know that they work? So we only use evidence-based approaches. We have a very specific sort of specialty in grief recovery and EMDR and body-based therapies like Hakomi and somatic experiencing. And so it's very important that we're actually seeing results with our clients. So your unique value proposition tells a story about what you do, why it matters, and differentiates your services from other practices. Don't be afraid to lead with your story. Don't be afraid to lead with vulnerability. Your clients and your clinicians are going to be looking for something in you that reminds them of themselves. They're going to say, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly where I need to be. They get it. They've been on this journey. They've been through a death or a divorce, or they were diagnosed with a chronic illness, or all sorts of things, whatever it is maybe that you specialize in, or they've struggled with parenting because parenting is hard. Don't be afraid to lead with your story. Stories sell. Okay. Develop a strong marketing strategy. If you are not already thinking about your marketing strategy, this is going to be key for scaling up. Now, this is surprisingly something that a lot of my one-on-one consulting clients and even group practice owners, they've just sort of never considered it, or it's been sort of on the back burner. It hasn't really been a priority. And so it's a conversation I have often around, what is your current marketing strategy? What are you doing to grow your visibility in the community? How are people finding you? This is important, especially if you're thinking about opening multiple locations or doing a large hiring. How are people going to find you? Well, we know the way of the world is online. And so people are going to be Googling and looking for your service. And when they're ready for that service, we want them to be able to find you immediately. So, number one, you must invest in a beautiful and user friendly website. It's a worthwhile investment. We have to be willing to spend money investing in our businesses. So if you don't already have a beautiful user-friendly website, put it on your list of to-dos. This is going to be that first connection for your clients. Invest in professional photography and videography. Put some videography. If you go to our website, which is healmyheart.ca, we have a welcome video, boom, right on the homepage, telling our story, featuring our leadership team, talking about our vision, mission, values, what we do, why it matters. Invest in it. It's worthwhile. It's again, hooking that client so that they say, yes, these people get it. This is where I need to be. I don't need to shop around. But we want that to be professional. Invest in SEO for your website, search engine optimization. Those are the key words that are going to help you to organically list on Google. Again, worthwhile investment. If you can be listed on Google organically, especially in your area, so us, grief and trauma, we're on the first page of Google, that is a win. We want to be able to kind of dominate that market. A very quick way to get a return is by setting up an online campaign through Google Ads. That for sure has been our most successful form of marketing, other than referrals from client referrals, word of mouth, and social media. But number one, Google all the way. So definitely think about that. One thing I do ask people to do is connect with a couple of marketing agencies in your community if you haven't already. Interview them, get a feel for what their pricing structure is. Ask them, what would it cost for you to redo my website, do SEO, and set up a Google ad campaign? Get a breakdown of those costs. And you can start to, piecemeal it and just get started, one little project at a time. Invest in online community engagement. So you're going to want to be on social media. It's something a lot of us don't want to do, but we pay a third party to do our Instagram. I have a director of community engagement who spends a lot of time, vetting our social media posts. You can have a newsletter, a blog, YouTube. There's all sorts of things. And like I said, you must spend money to make money. This might be 5 to 10% of your monthly gross revenue, is pretty average. Don't be afraid to bootstrap your business for growth. We all do this. This is normal. So this means you're going to take your cash flow and you're going to take your operating income and you're going to reinvest it. So, you put 5,000 on your credit card, you're going to take 5,000 of that cash flow and pay that off. We are constantly just spending the money that we make as a part of our growth strategy. And if you can avoid taking loans, that's ideal, but it's not a bad thing if you do have to take a loan.
As a therapist, I can tell you from experience that having the right EHR is an absolute lifeline. I recommend using Therapy Notes. They make billing, scheduling, note-taking, telehealth, and e-prescribe incredibly easy. Best of all, they offer live telephone support that's available 7 days a week. You don't have to take my word for it. Do your own research and see for yourself. Therapy Notes is the #1 highest rated EHR system available today, with a 4.9 out of 5 stars on trustpilot.com and on Google. All you have to do is click the link below or type promo code Joe on their website over at therapynotes.com and receive a special 2-month trial absolutely free. Again, that's therapynotes.com and use promo code Joe on the website. If you're coming from another EHR, Therapy Notes will also import your demographic data quick and easy at no cost, so you can get started right away. Trust me, don't waste any more of your time and try Therapy Notes. Just use promo code Joe at checkout.
Consistency is key for growth. Small and consistent actions every single day will lead to stunning results. You must be willing to work on your business every day. Super important. Create small and meaningful goals that you can check off daily. So often we become so overwhelmed because we're thinking 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and we're like, how am I possibly going to get there? Maybe you have a group practice of 3 to 5 people, and you're like, I would love to have a team of 30, but how is that possible? One step at a time. So at the beginning of every year, create your areas of focus. What are your areas of focus for the year? Those should be 3 or 4 major goals. Break those down into tangible goals that you can check off and create a visual reminder of what they are so you can see them every day. So Trello is a free program. You can create boards on there of what your areas of focus are, what your goals are this quarter. Break it down into quarters. So at the end of the year, you can say, oh my gosh, I've actually accomplished so much. I put the definition of grit on here because I do believe this is one of the foundational kind of characteristics of growing a large group private practice that's having both the passion and perseverance for long-term and meaningful goals. Simon Sinek talks about the infinite game. And it's really like, we don't really have an end game. We're not thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to quit in a couple of years. It's, I'm in this for the long haul. And sometimes going slow, and I know Gary Vee talks about this, going slow is actually so much better than trying to go fast. And one of my favorite quotes here from Bill Gates, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. So true. We have all these lofty goals for 1 year, but it's also okay if it takes us 3 years to get through everything because we also have a life. Let's not forget. Most of us are also, spouses, and we're parents, and we're friends, and we're involved in extracurricular. Maybe you coach things. We have lives outside of business as well. And so give yourself space and grace as you start to build out and get some momentum in your business. Cultivate a strong social network. We are not meant to do this work alone. It can be very isolating, especially as you scale up and your business is bigger than most practices around you. It becomes really hard. You don't really have anyone to talk to. Who knows what I'm going through at this level of business? So you want to connect with those group practice owners that are in a very similar stage as you, as well as connect with people who've gone ahead of you, who can mentor you. Find those group practice owners or just business owners that have grown and scaled large companies and ask them, how did you get where you got? What are the characteristics that were key for you? Hey, can you take a look at this? How does this business plan look? Hey, I've got some questions about marketing, or I'm having some people issues. What do you recommend? Maybe there's some books or trainings that you can take. This is also where signing up for a networking group or community like Entrepreneurs Organization or Tech can also be good because you end up connecting with other business owners in different industries and you can learn a lot from others. Prioritize relationships in your life that bring you joy, connection, and belonging. We have to be so careful about where we give our time and energy because we are so busy. And I want to say we're being really productive and effective in our businesses. And we want to make sure we're getting our energy where it deserves to be given. Also, of course, sign up for a pop community like Group Practice Boss or one-on-one consulting for that extra support. And another favorite quote of mine, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. We want to be curious and humble and open to feedback and growth. That's the only way we're going to see our blind spots. And it's the only way we're going to be able to truly move forward and overcome some of those immediate challenges. Find comfort in the discomfort. Growing a group practice requires tremendous courage, trust, and perseverance. It may look easy on the outside, Like, wow, this person's got it together. They just look like they've just done this. Anyone can do this. But when you actually have a conversation with people who've grown a business of any size, you know that it requires tremendous courage and there's many challenges that you don't see. Don't wait to have all your ducks in a row. Get going today. Don't wait till you get that training or you make 10,000 more dollars or until you hire one more person or until you get this or that. Get going now because you will never feel ready. Difficult seasons are inevitable. So learning to find comfort in uncertainty, unpredictability, and unexpected setbacks is important. And learning how to live in the moment, right? So what are those daily practices, emotional practices, spiritual practices, physical practices that keep you present so you're not in a constant state of anxiety and worry? That is a place that I finally found this last couple of years where I just had to let go. I just had to surrender. I don't know what things are going to look like in 3 months or a year from now in the business. I don't have to know. Today, we're okay. Today, we're doing well. I'm showing up. I'm giving it my all, living into my values, and the rest I just can surrender. Adapt a win or learn mentality instead of a win or lose. See your failures as opportunities for learning and growth. Trust me, I've made so many mistakes. I've spent thousands of dollars making these mistakes. I've done things I knew weren't right, tried things that didn't end up working out. Oh, well, what did I learn from this? What did I learn about trusting my intuition? What did I learn about where I'm really being called to focus and grow this business? Win or learn. Take calculated risks. And I've shared this a million times. My favorite Brene Brown quote, fly the plane while you're building it. Figure it out as you go. Don't forget to prioritize fun and play. It is too easy to fall into burnout. I, in all transparency, am still recovering from some like severe burnout in my business over the last couple of years. Still recovering. You don't recover from burnout in a month or a 2-week vacation. It can take years to get back to a place where you feel inspired and excited about your business. I wouldn't want any of you to have to experience that. Carve out time for joy. Some of you also know I love to play hockey. I'm on the ice about 3 days a week. I'm playing today, picking my son up after school, and we are going to stick and puck. So that is really a joy for me, is being on the ice and playing the sport that brings me so much joy. For you, it might be doing something like take a cooking class or join a curling team, or maybe this summer you're going to like buy a mountain bike and start mountain biking or kayaking. Do something that really lights you up that has absolutely nothing to do with therapy or business. Time block it so you don't have any excuses. Put it in your schedule. Maybe every Friday is your day off. That's your you day. Maybe you get a massage and then you go for a run. You go for coffee with a friend. Don't make excuses. And invite the people in your life who you love to join to deepen those relationships. Okay, so now before we do our Q&A and talk about Group Practice Boss, here are some key questions to consider for scaling up. Do you have the systems in place to allow for scalability in multiple locations? Things like a phone system that allows for multiple locations, an EHR that has multiple location options. What about your standard operating procedures? Are those clear so that those can be duplicated? Your policies. What about admin support? How are you going to support multiple locations? Do you have plans around hiring? What is that going to look like? What about project management? Who's going to be supporting this growth? Do you have a leadership team? Do you have a management team that's going to help with that? And then I just duplicated admin support there. Have you created a repeatable process? What is the checklist? So when you open your first location, are you very clear on every single step, every piece of furniture, every single step required to open, to market, and to launch your second location or third? Do you know what your numbers are in your business to determine if you're ready? What are your profit margins? What's your gross versus net profit, right? Do you have the cash flow? Do you need to take out a loan? What are your intakes? Do you have enough business coming in to be able to take that next step? Have you maximized your current office space and resources? Number one, you want to maximize before you're ready to then open a second location. And it's okay if you have to wait. Maybe you have plans to do it like this spring and you're like, we're just not there. Maybe it's another 6 months or 9 months before you're ready. And does your current marketing strategy align with your growth goals? So, hiring more clinicians, opening a new location, increasing intakes. Do you actually have the marketing strategy ready so you can sustain a whole nother team? Do you have a leadership or management team to allow for scalability and delegation of tasks? Your role would significantly increase. You're going to need support. This isn't something you can do on your own. Have you thought of ways to maintain your team culture and communicate your growth plans to your team? This can be really jarring. It was a smooth but also a painful transition for us when we opened our second location because half the clinicians went to a different location. So attending to the emotional needs and the grief and loss of what we went through as a team was really important. Being able to talk about that and identify that, validate that so that everyone felt supported in the transition. Are you prepared to stop seeing clients or significantly reducing your role in the day to day operations of the business? That becomes a reality. When you're busy growing your company and you're doing all these meetings and you're managing a leadership team and you've got multiple locations, yeah, certainly you can have a small caseload, but it is not going to be your usual 15 clients a week because then you're going to be working, 70 hours a week trying to do that as well as run your business. Do you have access to resources and cash and have determined a budget to open your next location? That's really important. And do you have a strong support system around you to lean on through periods of growth? This is where having your therapist or spiritual director or mentor, coach, consultant can be very helpful. So I've got a business strategist, I have a spiritual director and a therapist that are all kind of my little team that supports me for all those kind of areas of my life that are really key. Okay, so before our Q&A, let's quickly talk about Group Practice Boss. Some of you have heard about it, some of you have researched it. It's really an opportunity for current group practice owners to grow a thriving group practice that matches your values and to have the support, training, and mentorship available, not only from us who are facilitating Group Practice Boss webinars, but from an incredible community of like-minded group practice owners. The circle community is amazing for asking questions and supporting with some of those like immediate needs in your business. So here are the things that we would be covering over the 6-month period. We'd be talking about things like leadership and managing people, workplace culture, how to increase retention of clients. We talk about money management. We look at all the numbers in your business. We talk about systems and procedures. We look at hiring, onboarding, marketing and branding, really establishing maybe a niche. We look at office space and many more things. So if you're thinking about signing up, here is the URL, practicethepractice.com/GPB door if you're wanting to get in. So what is included in Group Practice Boss? So many things. You've got small groups for accountability. You can have an accountability partner that you work with. Monthly Ask the Expert topics, which there are some really incredible people in the community that come on and talk about all sorts of things. Live trainings and Q&A with Joe and our consultants every week. So every Tuesday we meet at 1 o'clock Eastern for a live webinar, a library of 30 plus courses, and access to our online community, the Circle community, all for only $149 a month. I honestly think like at that price, it is a steal of a deal for what you actually learn and how you can integrate and save hours and hours of wasted time trying to figure it out yourself. So here's an idea of what the first 6 months would look like. Month 1, you get onboarded with all of your access. You get assigned to your accountability groups and start to dive into Group Practice Boss trainings. Month 2, you really solidify your plan for growing your group practice, attending those webinars, connecting the community, taking some of those courses. And month 3 to 6, working on your plan and hopefully hiring at least a few more clinicians in your business. So here's a quick ROI. 2 new clinicians at 15 clients a week when they're full is an additional $15,000 a month of revenue for your business. It's pretty incredible. So this is a little bit about kind of just talking about how amazing we are here at POP. We have worked with over 2,000 private practice owners, 30 of which we've supported through or 300 through Group Practice Boss. It's a proven system that we've created with over 15 years of private practice experience. Joe and the team have been recognized and awarded 9 top consultant podcast and website awards from the Best in Therapy Awards since 2018. And our members have collected over 200 million in sales. It is so exciting to see therapists succeed in their businesses. And that's what we want, nothing more than to help them with, is giving them that confidence and the support and systems to be able to do that. So as I mentioned, what is the ROI for your time? For every hour you spend searching, evaluating, and wondering if you're doing it right, you could be making progress with your practice. And that is where working with us at POP is really key. So some of the bonuses, if you sign up, you get 70% off your premium Telewellness Hub profile. You get to join us for our exclusive welcome party on April 5th. You get full access to next level practice events, library of trainings, Ask the Expert, and Q&A. And this is so amazing and actually can cost thousands. Your free logo upgrade, email signature, and edible 4 graphic social pack for the first 20 people who sign up. So amazing deal. If you aren't signing up, ask yourself, who is going to support you? Who do you have in your corner to support you in growing your group practice? How will you decide what to do next? And where will you get your accountability? So join a group practice today to get solid teachings that lead to action, to join a community that will support your goals, and integrate tools of the trade to move forward faster. Okay, enough talking for me. I'm going to stop share. We've got 15 minutes.
Dang, you covered some ground. That was amazing.
Thanks, Joe.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and start dropping your questions in the chat. If you want to virtually raise your hand, would love for you to do that as well. Would love to hear, where you're at in your practice and how Ash can help guide you to level up. And so wherever you're at, you could be in solo practice. Maybe you're in solo practice and you don't even know if you want to go into group practice. So maybe you just want to strengthen your solo practice. Ash has been there too. All right, got some things coming in. Brian says that was fantastic, Ashley, inspiring and challenging in the best ways. So I know Brian has a solo practice. He's really involved in next level practice. He didn't ask the question, but he's growing this practice. At that phase, if he wanted to position himself to scale, what would you say are essential things for him to do right now?
I would start to look at okay, Brian, what is your niche? Again, what's your unique value proposition? What's the thing that you really want to be known for in your practice? Is it a general practice? Maybe you do want to specialize. Do you have a business name that's scalable? Is it Brian Cooper Psychological Services? Or is it, a name that you can actually start to hire? And look at, are you full in terms of your clientele? Are you ready to, do you have the capacity to hire and give clients to another therapist? Look at your marketing strategy right now. Look at your office space. Are you ready to take someone on? And then I would say, if you do have the space, you feel ready, you've got a bit of a wait list, maybe you do have a bit of a marketing strategy, then go for it. Jump in, hire your first person, and take notes to create your onboarding checklist so you know exactly what you're going to do when you hire your next clinician.
Awesome. Yes. Next question. How do you pick or develop your leadership team, and how many are on your team?
Great question. So we, including myself, we have 6. So they all have very specific roles. They are all registered psychologists, but they do administrative hours, up to 5 hours a week of administrative time, minus our COO, who is not a psychologist. She's a full-time salaried employee who works full-time, but she runs the entire company for us. So again, a big thing for me was, do they align with our vision, mission, values? Have they shown their commitment to the company and what we're actually here to do? So they were already working for the business, and it was just a natural conversation progression for them and something they were really interested in. And what is their skill set? So our director of people and culture, for example, she is a natural extrovert. She loves people. She's just one of those natural relationship builders. She's been with me from day one. She was the OG of our business. So her and I are almost the same person in that way. And so it was very easy for her to take on that role. So just thinking about that. And then you can hire into your leadership as you go. So maybe you're ready to hire a clinical director to start doing supervision and mentorship, really looking at the ethics of your business. That, that would be a great first person to take on, director of clinical services.
And you have
Or
6 leadership, and then how many admins do you have and how many clinicians, just so they can kinda do the ratio in their head?
yeah, so including them because they're also clinicians. I have to go and look, but we're about a team of 28 or so. Um, and we've got 2 full-time admin, like, at the locations. And then Hillary would be considered admin. She is our COO, and then the rest are clinicians.
Okay, so then you guys can run those ratios for how big or small your practice is. How do you bring your admin into your culture, and do you use the same type of advertising for your admins?
Yes, we do. So finding someone again that really aligns with our business and is really inspired by serving grieving people is key. So that is something that we look for in our preliminary questionnaire and in our interview is like, why do you want to work for us? Is this just a job for you to, answer phones and take payment? And a lot of them have said, you know what, I've been through significant loss myself, and I really want to give back in this way. So they are heart centered, they're compassionate people. And we, in terms of hierarchy, there is no hierarchy. Like our admin, I think, is such a huge part of our company. They are the first touch for our clients. So we treat them and include them and involve them in everything that we do. Nothing is beneath us, nothing is beneath me. So we really empower them in their role and just again make sure that they align with what we do.
Next question is, did you know from the start you wanted to practice this big, or has it all grown with you as you've grown your vision and what you can do?
It's a great question, Brian. I was so against having a group practice. So I remember this conversation with my husband. He said, one day, Ashley, you're going to have people working for you and you're going to be so busy, you won't even see clients. And I was offended. I was personally offended. I said, I have no intention of growing a group practice. And I will never hire anyone and it's going to be me forever. And then it just sort of evolved. Like as the needs of the company grew, I just took one more step and one more step and really had no vision of coming kind of getting to where we are today. But now that we are, I just feel even more inspired and want to help even more people.
Awesome. Uh, we'll wait for a couple more questions here. We've just got about 5 minutes left, so drop those questions. And I'm wondering, Ash, with hockey, with a practice, with consulting, with being a mom, how do you think about your time and where to spend your time and energy? Like, is it based on ROI of money? Is it based on ROI of joy? Is it based on something else? Like, how do you think through your time and where you're going to spend that time?
That's so good. Honestly, I don't know if it's just my wisdom as I get older or what it is, but I'm really seeing the value on I would much rather spend the money to have the energy and time to be free. So free to do the things that I love, free to go and meet a friend for coffee, free to play hockey. I play shinny Mondays at 11 a.m., right? Every Monday. So that has become more important to me over time, Joe, and worrying less about how much money's in the bank account. I know our bills are getting paid and there's cash flow, and that's great. But I'm so over stressing about that and trying to do everything myself because I know the impact, which is burnout. And I want to feel inspired for years to come. So that's
Yeah.
sort of where I'm at right now.
I'm with you. And I think that, there's definitely a hustle time for all of us to like build it up, but then it can be addictive to have your lifestyle creep and then you're spending more money and you're upgrading your car, or your house or whatever, where it's like, then you have to keep making more money just to sustain instead of saying, I'm really happy with where I'm at and I would rather have time with, friends or family. Even just recently I started an improv book club and we meet once a month and we're going through like learning the art of improv comedy even more than just our weekly improv group. And it was amazing. I posted a selfie with one of the books after I had my surgery and the author reached out to me and was like, "Oh, I hope you feel better." And we had her zoom in from England to talk about the book. It was like and it's like those sorts of things that we can keep doing the business, but also to find those things that have no business venture whatsoever and just give us like joy.
Yes. It's so nice to be anonymous too. Like to show up at a
Yeah.
hockey rink and play hockey and no one knows who I am or cares what I do. And we just get to talk about our sport. I mean, that is also super nice to
Yeah.
be able to do as well.
All right, last question before we do a couple announcements. What
Sure.
was the biggest game changer for you as you scaled? People, systems, marketing, something else?
You know what? Hiring my COO was a game changer for me because I was in the weeds trying to do everything, the operations, the day to day, supporting the admin, the clinical team, the leadership team. And I just couldn't, I didn't have that space for me to focus on the vision. And so that was a scary jump to be like, hey, I'm going to hire a full time, like admin to work 40 hours a week who doesn't bring any money into the business and has a high salary. And so it was like I had to kind of swallow that and say, and then again, recognize where are we going? Why I need this? Am I going to keep going the way that I'm going? We're not going to move anywhere because I don't have time to move the business anywhere and move the needle. So that by far was the best investment this last couple of years was putting Hillary in the COO role and being able to take care of all of that.
Mhm. So awesome. Well, later today, we have our group practice panel. So that's going to be all people that have added clinicians to their practice. And that's going to be in just a little bit here. I believe it's like in just like minutes. Sorry, a lot going on. So that's going to be from 1 until 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then from 2:30 until 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be talking about what membership communities make most sense for you. We did get some questions from our consulting clients. So if you are a one-on-one consulting client, you get access to all of our memberships totally free as part of that package. We want to make sure that you get that learning outside of your consulting. So you're not wasting time doing the one-on-one consulting, learning something you could have learned from an e-course or a live event. So we did have some of my consulting clients reach out to me and some of Ash's consulting clients reach out to say, like, should we level up? But nope, that's just all included whenever you do a consulting package. So I put that link if you're interested in doing direct consulting with Ash. That's practiceofthepractice.com/apply. And then you'll fill out the application. I'll meet with each person for half an hour to just talk through your situation and see who the best person is for you to meet with. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And we'll see you in just a couple minutes here. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and going through this Level Up Week training. Again, don't forget to sign up for Level Up Week. It's starting in just a little bit here, September 18th through 21st. We are going to have so many great trainings on starting a private practice, growing a group practice, and even starting a group practice, as well as passive income and so many other things that are really going to help you level up quickly. It is an intense week of trainings to help you level up quickly. You can sign up for that over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. And we could not do this show without our amazing sponsors. Sponsors like Therapy Notes. Therapy Notes is the best electronic health records out there. You can sign up over at therapynotes.com. Use promo code Joe at checkout to get 2 months totally free. And thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.